Okay, that should be... Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Hit too many buttons, made everything go weird. Hello, everybody. This is Feedback and Friends, and we do have some friends this week. Boop. Boop. Hopefully they should all be appearing on screen about now. Which camera am I even using?
We are here. Welcome. Thank you, Natty, for hosting tonight. I'm afraid you still sound a little bit glitchy, so I don't know if you're going to have to lean in real close and real sexy into that mic.
Yeah, this is the problem with too many things going on in my room right now. I need the heater on because my sheets decided not to tumble dry properly.
I see. Well, why don't you introduce our guest? Let's hear a little bit about our guest tonight and lots of fun stuff.
So, I am happy to introduce everyone to Auden, aka Indigo Heaven. I'm not sure where did the new alias come from, Auden, because it was a surprise to me, actually. I didn't realize initially that.
It just came from, well, hi everyone. It just came from like wanting, I guess, a bit of separation from like my real name for some reason. I felt like it was getting a little too close or like too personal, especially in public when you meet people and like sometimes people shout your name from like everywhere. So I think I just wanted a bit of like a degree of separation, also evolve what I was doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And where are you from? Like, tell people who may just
tell
about your music. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, small town in Massachusetts. I live in New York now. I make electronic music, pop music, kind of like in that vein, electronic pop, R&B influenced. Yeah, I'm pretty open to making a lot of things just because I'm in a lot of producer circles, so I meet people who make really ambient music or sometimes something completely opposite of that. So I'm like, that's kind of like my vibe as an artist. And yeah, I DJ as well, so I'm just kind of out here in New York, working on new stuff, meeting people, and curating a new vibe.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Maybe we'll hear some of your music in a bit.
Yeah, of course.
Natty, what's going on with the queue? Who's up first? What's going on?
So we've got 8 people in the queue right now. Up first is Ghostcore. This song is called Rage, and we already got blasted ourselves with it earlier accidentally. So, that's a thing. They're asking, let me know if you like it down. Feedback is much appreciated. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is Ghostcore, Rage. Okay, so that was loud. Yeah.
I love that.
So I'm gonna let you go first, Auden. What did you love most about Rage?
Everything. It's very fun, but I would say I don't know if it's just because of we're listening on headphones. I'm curious as to what it sounds on speakers, but the bass. Like I'm someone I go to a lot of clubs, so I feel like the bass is such a big component. But I do know in dubstep sometimes they have they amplify the mids a lot more so, just because of like the speaker setting in a lot of those event spaces. But I do like this. I think it was very fun. I found the switch choices to be really funny, but in a good way. Like really fun, like yeah, exciting. Yeah.
Oh, Isha, you're quiet. I think you need to speak more
Well,
directly into your
sorry,
mic.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I think this style is like it's hard when it's out of context because like if you are going to clubs and you're in the club and like Auden just said and you're like right up in front of the bass bins, then you're right. Like the mid range, it almost needs to be jacked up because you have this huge sub going on. So it is like when I was listening, these Sennheisers, they're really sharp in the high end, and I forgot to put my Sonar Works on, and so without like flattening them, I was like, it was like fingernails. And then when I did flatten it out, it sounded a lot smoother. And I think the mix is good. Like I think it's really crisp, but I totally agree with you that like when you play it in a big club or a festival with a huge bass bin going, it would probably, it's almost like you need like a listening EQ that's like club and not club or something, because it is quite mid-rangey. And I feel like if I played this on my speakers and I turned up my subwoofer, I would also get that same thing. But it is definitely a little sharp. But I don't think that's something to change. Like I totally think you're right on with like what it's made for. And like to be honest, I don't think I would really listen to this like sitting at home on headphones having a romantic bubble bath or something, you know?
Right. I feel like it's something you'd save and then like expect to hear it when you go see the person. Like, yeah.
Yeah, or like crank up your car with the giant subwoofers and go like driving around.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, good point. Natty, I know you're a huge rhythm fan.
Of course, it's my favorite genre. Honestly, it's a bit intense for me for too long a duration, but that's not the track's fault. That's just my taste. So ignore that and that's not feedback. That's just how I personally feel. So it's not aimed at me, and that's okay. Not everything has to be.
And let's note that you haven't been to that kind of event either. Like
you haven't?
That is correct.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing here.
Yeah.
And you might be able to get a few things like that, or it's maybe London might have a couple of things, but like it's not that big in the UK compared to other sounds.
Okay, that makes sense. But I feel like that's just the wave right now. America is on a dubstep wave, kind of, interestingly enough.
Oh, yeah. It's been like that for a minute, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in Europe, people are definitely a little bit different. Like they prefer a lot of more classic genres like techno and drum and bass. And then there's dubstep in the UK, but it is quite a bit different than American dubstep, you know? Like it's a little more dubby. So,
yeah, we're a little bit more chill, I think.
Yeah. Just a little.
Just a smidge.
What is up next?
Next up, we have Jadders with Brazen. This track went in a completely different direction than I thought it would. Does it work? Also, I might be in need of some mixing help. So, I guess focus on the mix downs. Let's see what's happening. that down a little bit. For me, I feel like a lot of it's just trying to do too many different ideas in the same space. But I'm gonna pass it over to Isha and see. Like, I'd like to know your thoughts on the arrangement, because I feel like that's actually proving more of an issue than the mixing for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, all these little details and all these little glitchy parts and melodic parts are really, really wonderful and tasty. But to be honest, like, the main drop, it's very heavily based around this big kind of synthy, overly simple melody, and then the piano too. I feel like if you took out that main synth part, the part that's like da 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 da, like, I don't like it at all. I'm just gonna be straight up, and it ruins everything else because everything else is really cool. Like, and I think even the piano would fit better if the drop was more simple, because it's almost like you don't need a melodic, sawy, like big mid-low synth like that. You can have like a deep rolling bass. That would be nicer because you got so much going on everywhere else. So I feel like if that track had all the same stuff and all the really cool ear candy and all that other stuff, and it just had like a simple sub non-tonal just accent of all the other stuff that's going on, that would be much better. Because right now that huge like da da, because the melody is not very good, like it's a letdown, and the rest of it is really good. So I think you got to like rethink that part because it's taking focus from the rest of it. And again, subjective, but also if you're into music theory, and I'm not gonna lie, I was the worst music theory student of all time. I took piano for like 8 years, and I ignored a lot of it because I just hated having to explain myself, and I play a lot of things by ear. But I can tell you that there are better ways to create a melody than what it is that you're doing. And it's not about not being commercial, like somebody is saying in the chat. Not at all. Like, there's nothing commercial about this track at all. It's just like, it's just very overly simplistic. It kind of like, if I were to try and describe it, I would say it sounds like somebody learning to play the piano. That's kind of like da-na, 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 da-na. And it's really emphasized by how front and center the synth is. So again, take it with a grain of salt, but I really love so much of the rest of it that it seems a shame to just throw that in there and have that be the focus of the track when there's a lot of really well done things. Auden, what about you? What do you think?
I feel like there's a lot of ideas in there, right? But I feel like some certain parts, like especially that like first initial like entrance of the kick, where it's like doom 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 doom, like that little section could be its own song. I feel like that piano part into the more like bassy dubstepy part would make more sense. But you know, you can do as you please. But yeah, there's a lot of ideas. I feel like the chords, I like the chords. I don't know if it was like right in the context that they were used, but I do like that they were used. I like when they came in the second time, but I feel like that could be like its own separate song compared to like that one dubstep type of section. Overall, I do like the production on the more filled out parts versus the piano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm in
Yeah,
agreement
I do
with
like.
that.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like the production on it. Overall, I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting vibe. But there's like definitely a bunch of ideas in there. I think sitting with each part and seeing what you can expand and picking it apart would be the best way to go.
Yeah, don't throw anything away. Just find new places to use those ideas.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
think
did
it's
like
easy.
that.
It's
Oh,
easy
go
to
ahead.
like get overexcited, right? And to just like do everything when you can make multiple tracks out of it.
Right. Because I did like that one beginning section. I was like, that part could be played like in a like techno spot or something like that. Like, that's definitely a vibe.
Thank you for your submission, Jadders. Next up, we have Citros.
Shadows. Citrus.
He's looking for feedback on mastering, beefing the low end more. I need some help on those two the most, but if you have anything other to say, Go Ahead. This is Sometimes It Happens With by Citros. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit because Citros, it's 5 minutes long, and he said there's a little bit at the end, so we'll pull it back up towards that melodic bit that he told me to keep an eye out for. I think I agree with some of the chat here about things like the snare needing a bit more body. Auden, do you listen to a lot of drum and bass?
I do actually. I listen to. I feel like I listen to like more jungle than drum and bass. Honestly, if I'm gonna be honest. But when I listen to drum and bass, it's more liquidy. I do not like snares like that. I like the more like thinner, lighter, kind of more sharp type of snare. I feel like it just elevates the sound. I feel like that heavy snare makes it a little, I don't know, not dated, but like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I do like this.
Sorry. It makes me feel like my ears are broken with that snare.
Yeah, you know, I think it's not only the wrong snare, but I think a step that people start to need, like once you've made a bunch of tracks, just laying things out. Like I feel like you've gotten to that stage, you have the right amount of elements going on, but now it's time to think about like different processing techniques and being more experimental. And with drum and bass, jungle, anything from those roots, you got to know your roots. Is this the part that we're supposed to be listening for?
I think it's just coming up. It's more saying. I guess it's a little bit more melody going on. I think my other issue is that these melodic segments it's too repetitive in a sense. Like, it'd be nice to have more minor variations in that core melody.
Yes, but let me finish. I was
Sorry.
sorry to go by. So I did. For those of you who might not know, I'm really old and stuff, and I was a drum and bass. First, I was an MC, and then I was a DJ, and that was when I kind of learned to produce for 12 years before I even became like a bass music was not a thing that existed. And one of the reasons I
that's
moved
amazing.
away from drum and bass at the time was because I found it super restrictive as an up and coming producer because there were so many rules. It was like has to be this tempo, and a lot of the time I would make tracks that kind of sounded a lot like that. And I used to get so mad because you know what people would always say to me, like people from labels and stuff, they would say, put some sampled breaks over it. And I hated them for it because I was just like, I'm an authentic producer and I make everything from scratch
The
and I
sample
don't use any
breaks,
samples.
period.
But here's the thing: is like drum and bass. Is the legacy of the genre is based off of sampled breaks, and sampled breaks they actually have multiple purposes. It's not just about like using classic tropes, which is like my, and to be fair, when I did drum and bass for 12 years, I started at age 14. So I was a little bit of a hothead. I thought I knew everything and I didn't like anyone telling me how to do anything. And you don't need to use the aim break, okay? But there are so many different classic breaks that you can use, and you can EQ them. And so this could actually solve a couple of problems. Like you could cut up a break and you could have like a deeper, darker snare under there that would layer under your snare and maybe give it some of the body. That's one idea. But you have to be careful with that because there can be like phasing if you layer too many stuff. But you can also cut up a bunch of different breaks, and if I don't know what DAW you use, but I will say in Ableton there's a lot of tools and shortcuts to like really quickly mess around with the start point of your sample, so you can do some really interesting things. You can actually cut a wave file up in your arrangement view, and then using the shortcut you can like move the start point so that your placement of your break is still there, but the sample itself moves over. And what that can do is also put you in edits that you never actually thought of, but like it can just trigger this creative burst. So I would honestly play with some sampled breaks because probably if they're classic, they also have a lot less high end. You've got a lot of high end. You've got a lot of like really high percussion. You've got a high snare. And if you have a little bit of like an old, especially if it's sampled from vinyl, you're going to get so much great sort of darkish mid, like, and not just that. Okay, so here's the other purpose, right, is groove. You've got like your hi-hats and you've got your cymbals going. It's a little bit robotic, and really good drum and bass. When you cut up an old break and you speed it up, you've got that actual drummer somewhere playing that thing, playing all these like classic rhythm tricks like ghost notes, like in the pocket. And that can just give you such a different sway, because the thing about drum and bass when it goes like this is you want to feel the sway. It's a thing. And if it's too tight and it's too synthetic, like if you don't want to do that, if you're totally like, I hate this idea, I hate everything about it, I don't want to use sample breaks, I would like study Ed Rush and Optical and their Wormhole album and some classic and things like Noisia. But I think that a lot of these people still use sample breaks, but they just like use them very sparsely over really clean drums. But I know that like Ed Rush and Optical, when they basically invented tech step, this is 1998, so some of you are probably like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This was 1998, and I was like a very young teenager, and I was just like, this blew my mind, because up until then Jungle had only had sampled breaks, and then these guys were just doing super tight synthy stuff. But again, they were really good at programming grooves as well. So I really think that sampled breaks would be a good choice for you for now, just to play with. You know, that's what I'm saying.
I agree 100%. Actually, yeah, I agree. I was just about to comment on the swing of it all, because I was like, it feels a bit like doom chi, like, which is cool sometimes depending on what the vibe is. But I feel like for this one, since it's so like light and melodic, it should be a little bit more. I feel like swing and groove kind of makes it a little bit more dreamy. You can also add like, I don't know if you did this with like MIDI, but if you have the MIDI, you can let the notes kind of slide different places. This is something I learned recently. I live with another singer, and they were like influencing that vibe onto me as well. They make jungle primarily, so definitely just getting into that vibe, letting the swing hit on like even just the keys, the synths, kind of let the track be as dreamy as you want it to be. I do think it should be, if you want it to be drum and bass more than jungle, I definitely think it should be more liquidy with the drum pack that you're using, and less compression, and more EQing. Yeah. Less compression, more EQing.
Less compression, more EQing. What about
And-
you, Natty? What's your junglist take?
Yeah.
Massive.
I don't really have anything to disagree with the way you guys summed it up. I think that's definitely jazzier would be the word I'd use. A little bit jazzier.
Yes, there you go. And I think a sub bass, like a sub of sorts, maybe that's a little too jungly, but a sub of sorts as the bass, like a sub 808, kind of just to like add a rhythm to it or something would sound pretty, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. There we go. Some of that.
Natty, you're so
Sorry.
zen today. You're so like,
No, I'm actually more just completely out of it at this point. But it's fine.
kidding.
Next up, we have Instrumental by XC Fusion, and this is for a
XC
remix, but he
Fusion.
hasn't added the vocals that is going to be from the original track into this version. It's just the instrumental for it. So keep that in mind. There will be
Okay.
vocals in this, but we won't get copyright strike or anything weird.
all right.
Very kind of
all
him.
right, all right. Jungle is massive.
Execution continues to have amazing track record in terms of submissions and actually being super vibey every time. So, really impressed with that again.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Evil autoplay, bad. Is my voice still glitching? I don't know. Everything's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, no, I'm afraid I can hear it. I was hoping that the people couldn't. Weird
Huh?
that like it only happens. I really think it's like when you're far from the mic. And by
It's
the
really
way,
weird.
for anyone, I am definitely wearing pajamas, and they are Hello Kitty underneath the feet because I'm an adult. But
I love
like,
that.
yeah,
That's so
my
cute.
daughter- Wait,
That's adorable. I like that song too, actually.
that song was dope. I mean, yes, but I don't know if I was into like the happy hardcore part. I know that everything should be happy
Ooh.
hardcore, as we've talked about
Happy
before,
hardcore.
but maybe I like the other parts of that a lot. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it needs to go there, but that's kind of like how you feel about rhythm, Natty. A lot, and I'm getting better. Like I'm getting more into. I've actually made some like quasi deep house and techno stuff since I moved to Europe because of context. But I like that the rest of that track better. So I don't know. My 2 cents. I don't know what you think, Auden. I mean, as somebody who's still in America, maybe you feel it differently.
Okay, it's interesting because I feel like I'm a person who I started off in EDM scenes, like the mainstream or type sound, which I feel like is more the popular sound, but now that I'm more in the like electronic spaces, which I feel like sometimes is labeled differently than like the rest of EDM or whatever, my ear's a little bit different because I feel like for this song I did enjoy it overall, but I wish there was more like variation in the percussion, if
Yeah.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
I agree.
Yeah. And I feel like compression on the synths are so heavy. You can kind of like EQ a lot of those sounds that you're compressing, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a way just playing with the EQ on a lot of those synths in the back, especially the saw that has the arpeggio on it. Um, yeah, I'm playing with the stereo. I think playing with the stereo on a lot of the sounds, and a little bit more sound design. Maybe it depends on the direction. This is just my ear, my taste more so. I didn't mind the 4 on the floor part. I feel like the kick could be a little bit thicker, especially for the vibe that it's going for. Maybe like a heavier 808. I don't mind the mids being high on the rest of it, but having like a low there would probably balance it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the transient was maybe a little bit too weird in some places for the kick. Too present.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind the 4 on the floor just because of I feel like Americans love a switch up of sorts, like I
Oh
don't know.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you, and I mean I like the idea of the switch up. It just
Yeah.
with the choice of synths plus the 4 on the floor, it was suddenly happy hardcore to me, which is like I bet you in like the Netherlands they would go crazy for this. This is like a really like
Right.
everything that XC Fusion does. I am a huge fan, as I said in the chat, because it's very like quality mixing and it's actually very like commercially viable. But I always find it likable and interesting. So I think I wouldn't even say change it because I know that there are lots of people that would appreciate it. I just personally like
Yeah.
take it and make my own edit with the like non-born.
Yeah. Just a little bit more like experimental. I feel like if you're into that. I also come from like a hyper pop section of music where sound design is more the focal point of everything. So it crashing noises, like crazy crashing noises, crazy like glitching noises, all that stuff. Percussion's really crazy, so I always notice like the EQing on percussion and everything. I feel like a lot of EDM is overly compressed. Pulling it back and like focusing on like the levels of where the mids and the lows are sitting is more important. And like, yeah, I don't know. what else to say about that.
No, you're right. I mean, I think music in general is just way too compressed now, and I will say that, like, especially for like streaming services that kind of turn you down anyways, it can actually be detrimental to compress too hard, because when you lose dynamic range and then you turn the volume down, it sounds like way quieter than other stuff. And this is something that Mr. Bill showed me once when I was like checking some of my mixes at his house, and he like showed me his mastering, which is always super clean and super great and to listen to. And he showed me how there was like way more dynamic range in his than mine, but his sounded louder. So I kind of agree with you, Auden. I think that also, like, when you overcompress something, you lose the sway. You lose the movement a little bit, because part of that movement is like the push and pull of, and some of that is amplitude a little bit, you know? You just have to be effective about it and tricky. And it's like people shouldn't notice the volume dipping, but at the same time, if it's always at 100, then it's like that trope of like, well, if we didn't have black, we wouldn't have white. Like, you need a contrast.
Right. And I feel like it's that standard again in the genre where a lot of the highs and mids are amplified, because in any dance electronic playlist that centers around kind of more EDM is like most of the songs have that high mid type of sound. But I guess it works in a festival setting in a sense, but when you listen to, if somebody puts out a dance album or a dubstep album that has more bass on it, something, or like even just a little bit more like heaviness to it, it's not really, I'm not gonna say it's bad. I feel like it sounds just as good. I feel like it sounds just as good in a big space. I've seen DJs that have like the heaviest bass in like huge spaces. It's a little overwhelming sometimes, but it's like, you know, it's bass. It's loud music. I feel like, yeah, a lot of EQing would help versus compressing, though. I understand the use of the compression, but it could be dreamier. If that, yeah.
That's a good closing statement.
Could be dreamier.
Could be dreamier. There's your goal, XE Fusion. Could be dreamier. Next up, we have Eggy Toast. This track is inspired by lo-fi, trip-hop, general thoughts and feedback. The track is called
I
Circadia.
love that. Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Have fun with this one. Radio by Eggy Toast.
Eggy toast.
Eggy Toast. No, autoplay. Stop. No. And that
Okay,
brief
Priya.
segment was House Beat 2 by DJ Brainstorm.
Okay.
Did you just make that up? Because it sounds.
No, that's actually what it's called. House Beat
I'm
2 by
screaming.
DJ Brainstorm.
I just gotta say, I gotta call out Salvati for the most right-on comment right away. Like, this is Minecraft creative mode.
I was literally about to say that. That's so funny.
Oh my god.
Clone of
I miss-
C418.
I miss our Minecraft server. I'm just saying.
Well, we can reboot it this winter.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be
I was
inside
actually-
and...
I was thinking about if anyone was interested. I'm actually in the middle of scoring and doing sound effects and stuff for an indie game studio, and they are launching a game this winter. And I thought it would be fun to have like not only a remix competition or something, but maybe do like a special stream on making game audio if people are interested in that, or like the process of sound design or composing. I'm trying to think of more fun events to do again. I know that we had a really crazy like 2022 and when we were doing LBC all the time, and that is because I was fortunate enough to be doing that full time, so I was able to bring you all so much fun content. But I'm glad that we can continue doing this. I just wanted to say, if you are into more events, if you would like to, just make noise at me and hit me on Discord, and let's get some stuff going, because I miss you guys. I live in dark Denmark. The winter is long, and I think over the holidays I will have a little bit more time. So if we want to do some events, let's do it. But yeah, Minecraft creative mode. I like the energy of that track. It was very floaty. I think the drums could have. There could have been a little bit of more interesting maybe bus processing on them. Like, they were a little bit kind of ploddy and not totally glued together for me. So I would get creative, like put some like tape saturation and like put some bus effects really lightly in parallel over them, and just maybe that will help you glue things a little bit together, because I feel like you have nice ambience in the rest of it, but there's something about the drums that's still not entirely smoothed out. I don't know. What do you think, Auden?
I think it was a cute vibe. I actually like everything that was going on. I feel like if you were to leave the track as is, I think that synth, that like square, I don't know if it's a square synth happening, but that one synth that's in there, I definitely think that one
It's
should
squarish.
be like, yeah, it's like, it should be EQ'd a little bit. It's kind of round a little bit too, but
Squircle.
right. I do think the percussion could use a little umph. Yeah, maybe a little variation. Maybe more variation in the production too. Maybe something to just like drive it home all the way. But I like the vibe. It reminds me of the Wii console.
I never owned a Wii. That was one of the consoles that we
Really?
never had in our house. Yeah.
Oh no.
We
love
had
the Wii.
PlayStation 2, then we went Xbox 360, and then Dad went back to PlayStation after that, so, you know.
Oh, okay. I always had like Nintendo stuff.
For me, I would love to hear something melody in the track at some point, because you have this same sort of slightly glidey, roundy squircle synth all the way through. And it's a nice sound, don't get me wrong, but when it's all the way through, it sort of starts to bleed together, and it makes it harder to really feel any momentum in the track. But obviously you don't want to have anything too aggressive, so I'm thinking somewhere around the mallet range. Add a little bit of a chorus, a smidge of delay, and a wash reverb of some kind to let it echo out into the space in a diffuse manner. And I think you could maintain the same sort of character, but with a slightly more transient-y sound. And it would also push it away, push it a little bit further away from being Minecraft creative mode. Not in a bad way, but just in a more distinct manner. That's just kind of where I'm feeling. I mean, the melodies, the overall progression, I think it's lovely. It's a really pretty track. So, any other thoughts from anybody?
No.
Okay, so next up we have Annie. If it was autoplay, I don't know. Or it might send an advert, let's find out. Okay. What is it doing? Okay, so that's... this is Annie in the chat there. Annie Ruda. I feel like I'm butchering your first name, very sorry. This is a music video, which is interesting. You'll have to tell us how you made it. Hey, been a while. Good to see you all back. Would love to know what do you think about my latest track and some constructive feedback. Any feedback that you give will be taken for sure, smiley face. So this is Melodrama 2.0, instrumental version by Annie. Is it gonna work? Oh, yeah. Okie dokie. So, I'm going to hand it across to Isha first, and then Auden, you can probably respond from there, maybe?
Okay.
Wow, that was super beautiful. I really, really loved that. I love the textures that you have with the guitar and the atmospheres and the chords. Like, that was really, really nice. That would be like Spotify playlist for sure. I honestly, I feel like it's super floaty. It's got like a good energy. I was very, very like, I was distracted in the best way from actually giving you nitpicky feedback because I was lost in the vibe. So I really can't say much because no matter what little thing you might need to do, I was just like, yeah, this is so intimate. It's so intimate and sweet and like makes me feel vulnerable, you know? Like it's a really, really intense but peaceful feeling at the same time. So, yeah, I really liked it. Auden, what'd you think?
I thought it was really pretty. It does actually sound like something that's actually already like out and about doing, in the world. But I think it's a pretty track. I do think that guitar might be just a smidge too loud, but honestly, as the track went on, I don't think it mattered, honestly. So yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah.
It's interesting that it's this instrumental version because in my head I'm hearing like I feel like there's it's killing for some sort of dynamic ballad vocals.
I was thinking that too, actually.
You know what, like where they go really high and then they get to this moment in the break where everyone's just going whispering how they feel and like there's that vulnerability thing that you mentioned, Disha. That's I'm getting the same vibe. Like is someone really letting someone else know how they actually feel about whatever it is they're singing about. It could be just that they really love toast, but you know, they really feel it. It's in their heart.
Vibes.
Vibes. Yeah. Oh.
All right, let's keep going. Keep going. It's a very chill day. It must be actually early. Wait, you're in Massachusetts, so it's just an afternoon for you.
Oh, I'm in New York, but yes, it is actually that afternoon. I live in New York now. Yeah.
Oh
so
yeah, right.
yeah.
Well, same time.
Wait, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick.
No worries, we've got an
alright?
advert to get through.
How dare
Okay, period.
you?
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right, Natty. While he's right back, let's talk about what's coming up. We've got you coming for the holidays. We're hanging out for Christmas, so we should definitely do some kind of Christmas special holiday fun. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll have to work out the best dates for that.
Oh, that's going to be so fun because usually I find people are just like, oh, I've been stuck with my family. I love them, but give me something else, please. So I'm looking forward to everything. Like,
And also,
I'm
you're
looking
good.
forward to being in person. What?
Show me the scenic areas. Where am I hearing myself? Where is that coming from?
Sorry, that's probably my speaker.
Okay, that's fine.
a little
I just
loud.
also know what's happening, so I don't feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah. What I'd love to know what y'all are doing for the holidays. I'm probably just gonna make a lot of food. It's gonna be, we're not gonna get a ton of sunlight, so we'll have to make the most of whatever we get, and then just cozy up, do some streams, make some really good food. I'm kind of disappointed actually right now. It's Thanksgiving in the U.S. and I gotta say I'm not a super traditional person, but I really miss American Thanksgiving food. Like. I know a lot of people don't like turkey, but I love the ritual of making
A really
roast
good
bird.
turkey is underrated, though. The problem is a lot of people are really bad at it. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing that throws people off a lot, is that people make it too dry, or they burn it, or they don't cook it well enough, so it's not really, it's still chewy, it's not tender, and then they think that turkey sucks. But it's actually quite a good meat. It just needs to be prepared properly.
I'm screaming.
Totally agree. Like it should be juicy. It should be juicy.
I'm screaming.
Yeah. Oh man, and I missed that. So I was. Anyways, the reason I'm disappointed is not just because I'm not there, but because we had this whole idea to do like Mexican themed Thanksgiving over here, and I found all these recipes for like pozole and mole and empanadas, and I was so stoked. But for
sounds
some
so
reason,
good.
like not my friends who are usually big dinner cookers, they just weren't into it. I don't know if my other friend like hates Thanksgiving. Usually he's the first one to cook. But then I was like, oh, this is only me, so let's just do tacos. So we're just doing tacos, which is fine. I love tacos, but I wanted pozole.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a downgrade.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Some good food. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Are you making dinner, Auden? Are you doing the Thanksgiving thing?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be doing stuff here during the day with some friends. I'm actually gonna go to the grocery store and start prepping after this. And then also, do you guys mind if I smoke and I've been doing it anyway.
You
but I was
do
just-
whatever you want.
Okay.
Because I am totally not standing half off camera doing anything like that. So,
Right.
Um,
Just it's
we
okay.
don't-
You
we
can.
don't know what it is. We won't ask. It's your business. It could be just tobacco.
It's legal over here, so okay.
Yeah,
But
it's-
we will be eating, and I'm going to a Friendsgiving with a bunch of like other queer people later on in the
Nice.
evening. So it'll be like a fun little get together type of day.
Sounds wonderful.
I'm having a ham because I don't like turkey.
Fair.
ham.
A good
All right,
ham is
all
good.
right. Controversial.
Right.
am-
Turkey's dry to me.
Again, we were just talking about this while you were in the bathroom.
You know,
People cook
that's-
it wrong. People cook it wrong. Free the turkey.
Right. That's so funny.
Oh, I really want it. What's next? I'm hungry now.
Well, we got a 9-minute track from Ramos here, aka Nick News.
I'm
That is
Yeah.
not enough time to make a turkey, Nathaniel.
Yeah. Well, it
I
works
mean-
if you have a time machine.
Okay, cool. Well, now that that's been established, let's do this.
I'm curious if this is like.
But where
techno or
it's a
something.
long trance track, there's your answer,
Okay.
Auden. I'm pretty
Okay.
happy with the arrangement, but I'm very unsure about the mixing and certain sounds are too loud or quiet. Please give me your honest opinion and if this is there any reason to be out there. Well, of course it has a reason to be out there. You made it. That's already enough reason itself. But as far as the rest of it, we will try our best. And we were not going to say play all the way through at full volume. We might start talking over it because it is 9 minutes. So we've got to get through everyone's tracks. Thank you. Serenity by Ramos. Okay, we're going to pull it down a little bit here. We'll build it back up once it gets to the drop. Thoughts so far on the mix down and leveling, guys?
Let's turn up the bass. Bass. Bass, bass, bass. Bass. Boom, 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 boom.
Agreed. Very much agreed.
I really like
love
that
this, though. Go.
crunchy ARP that's in, like, sitting on top of the bass in the first section. But it could be a little bit more complex in how it moves as it goes along. That's a really nice synth pluck there.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Let's hear this build up, see how it sounds. Sounds kind of too similar to the first bit.
It's trance, bro.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like that.
It's called trance because it's supposed to hypnotize.
It's supposed to be
you.
like.
It involves repetition.
If I heard this in the club, I would go crazy. But like.
Okay, that's fair. That kick seems a bit loud as well compared to everything else. If we're being picky about levels and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? Something so simple that it took me a while to learn how to do is like people kind of ignore the top end of their kick a lot sometimes, but if there's too much click and top end, it can actually really take up space in your mix. And sometimes you can roll a little bit of the top end off, and suddenly it's like it clears room. Like obviously with trance there is a clicky type of kick, so I'm not saying like cut it all off, but consider taking some of it down so that you don't take up that high-end room and you have room for those like nice synths, because I do enjoy the synths.
I agree. I love this.
Alright, well, let's see if everyone can get in a trance for the last section then, I suppose. I'm going to turn it back up. I liked that build up more than the previous one. I felt that it was like dynamic, but it didn't ruin the groove or anything. It was just a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, the vocal part is cool. Like, I definitely think like for a trance track, it does strike that balance of like keeping it interesting, because there is progression and there are new parts. Maybe you should talk more on it, because you're loving it, and I like the production and a lot of things about it, but I'm definitely not the biggest trance person.
Oh, okay. I sing over a lot of trance songs. I don't listen to a lot of trance. I just end up making it somehow. But I do like this. I feel like the well, actually, no, I think it sounds fine. I feel like could be like the build-ups, the drops after the build-ups could be a little bit more like attack or something. Maybe it's a build-up. Maybe something has to happen there.
It's a contrast thing, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with
because I feel like the
that
drops
kick, when it's so dominant, it kind of makes everything a little bit cramped. When you want your droppy bits to really be wide and big.
Right. I think yeah, something with it might be the kick, maybe less high end on the kick. I think the sharpness on the kick, I think, yeah, it might be doing something with this everything else.
Wow, it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
It is a good vibe.
Yeah, I do like this more bass, turn up
More bass.
Boom boom, like it's club music.
I
Like
actually like this one. I like this like deep kind of minimal rollout part. Like this is a nice space.
I think another space like this in the song would actually be really fire. Yeah.
Oh no, autoplay, go away. It's an advert. Okay, well, that's fine. So, thank you for your submission there, Ramos. That is a nice vibe, and I hope that's enough feedback to work with. Next up, we have Bonehead Bangers, Chaos Theory. No specific feedback given, so I guess just whatever comes off the top of your head, guys. Just start playing in 2 seconds. There was another person in front of them, but they haven't responded, so I'm not sure what's happening with Dozy Do. If you come back, we'll keep you in the queue. Alright, let's see if this works. There's a really interesting atmosphere in this track. I don't know about you guys.
Wow.
It's very progressive.
I love that. This is cool.
Cool vibes for sure.
This reminds me of like a 2000s like show about like crime fighting spies or something. I don't know.
Oh, there's a
Really?
video game series that reminds me of Digital Devil Saga, the soundtrack to that. Or something like Persona, that kind of corner of JRPGs, where everything's a little bit emo edgy and techno cyberpunky fantasy weirdness.
Right.
It's weird, I can't tell if a guitar is real or not. And I'm not sure if
Right.
it matters either.
Honestly, I'd say they could even filter the guitar a little bit more too, honestly. Make it really wonky. I love that.
So it's a guitar library. They responded in the chat, Bonehead Bangers there. So it's not a real guitar. It's just,
Well, if it's a library, then it was a real guitar. It's just samples.
yeah, you know what I mean
Right.
though. Like, not played
Not
live.
like a player. Yeah.
But Nathaniel, somebody played it live.
I will come over there and
He will
argue with
He has
you.
a plane ticket. He has a plane ticket, folks. Great. No, I mean, I actually love that sound. I like samples of guitar that are programmed because you get this like slightly surreal, but like organic texture vibe. Oh no, energy! I love Natty. He's like one of my
Yeah, we're
favorite
just
people in
easy
the
to
world.
it this way.
That's why we're spending Christmas together. Yay!
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Tell us, people, you'll have to tell us in Discord if you don't chat there often, what you want me and Isha to do over the holidays, because we can do stuff for you guys too.
I know we're gonna be in the same place. We can set up a crazy. Maybe I think we might do like the gaming thing. That's for sure. But we could also do like an all-day hangouts or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even things like Discord voice chat, that's an option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I will be bringing my laptop, so that'll be a good as well. I know you got yours, but we'll both have ours and we can do stuff with that.
We will have all the computers. I like this though. I really appreciate.
I love this part.
The throwback vibe of this. I like the drum programming. It's funny, I talked about sampled breaks earlier. I'm getting back into that light, dynamic, floaty, organic drum vibe that you have. Like I've been making kind of this like breaky garage, or as they say in the UK, garage.
Garage.
And
Garage.
I like this like 90s, like just 2000s. I love it. It's really well done. I mean, it doesn't sound stale though. It has this like modern sound to it enough that it's not just a pure throwback, which is good. You gotta bring something new even when you're like paying homage to a style.
The thing in the chat, it's very incomplete right now. Got a fresh aside from maybe a little bit more of delay shimmery type stuff, I'm not really hearing it as incomplete.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel like
there's a solo happening soon. We have to get feedback on. Watch out for the solo.
Watch out for the solo. Let's pull it back up then.
right. Let's see.
Faster? What is happening right now?
It is
I
getting
love
faster.
that.
I feel like that
I thought
could
that was
have come
cool.
earlier and had it like lead into the solo with it getting faster and then just strip everything back and just have the solo and the drums. And I really think you could just get away with those two as your closing section.
Yeah. I think also some of the sections could be chopped in half. Like it is. I don't think you need to do that much more to it, like adding more. I think that you need to like be a little more just condense your arrangement a little bit more, you know? So, or I guess you could do more over a longer period of time. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Like maybe you want to put little stuff in, but I do also tend to make tracks that are way too long and then I end up like cutting them, and you just kind of like, it's almost like how much can you bear doing without, and you do it like till it's like, oh, what, I lost too much, and then you undo a couple steps. But I feel like when you're making it, especially with that kind of vibe, it's easy to get lost in it and to just be like, wait, oh, I just made like 64 bars of this, and like maybe it can be 32, you know? I'm not saying like butcher it, just there could be a little bit of tightness, I think, at this point, because you have a great energy.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I thought this was really interesting. No, nothing here for me. I feel like it was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it overall too. Thank you for the submission, Bonehead Bangers. I don't think there's any. Let's say, anyone got any last minute feedback, or are we ready to move on?
I just gotta say, the elegant and upscale way that you just said thank you for your submission, Bonehead Bangers.
Bonehead Bangers.
I can probably, you know, when we were hanging out, we could just probably spend a whole day just making silly voices at each other.
We should just do a whole sample pack of you. I bet you like everyone on this server would want it. Seriously.
Well, they can have it. If you have ideas of what you want me to say, then Isha's got a better setup than I am for recording. So that if I'm gonna do it while I'm at hers is the place to do it.
Yes. All right, move on.
Next up,
I'm gonna stay for a little bit and do a couple more.
Okay, well, we got Energy with Space Race. General feedback, looking to remove a few sounds like the synths, etc. to make more changes to the drum layouts, and make more changes to the drum layouts. Any vocal recommendations? So I'm interested to hear the context for that. This is Space Race by Energy Official. I got to turn my volume back up. That would help. Burp.
That was cool.
Okay.
That was amazing.
It's really cool, but it's also just so close to not just being really cool, but amazing. Like it's just right on the threshold of being legitimately genius.
It needs hi-hats. Not lots of them, but you could put lots of them. But yeah, I think it needs like a something there. Yeah, hi-hats. Maybe the breaks need to be louder on the drops, so that we can like kind of like glide it a little better.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like the same thing I said about the other track. Like it needs like that sway, and I think maybe they're there. But
Right.
you're right. They're like too far back in the background. So I agree.
The other thing I
Hold
think
up.
is there needs to be a little bit more space between some of your sections, because they're almost a disconnect initially. Like once you get past the intro into the first intense bit, the two bits don't really speak to each other yet. And I'm not sure whether it's a case of you need to have something in between to make that transition, or whether you just need to space it out and use ambiance to try and make the transition instead. I don't know. There's a few possible ways you could take it, but like the really interesting bits of this track are really interesting.
Yeah. No, I like the melodic progression too. I think the whole thing is really well illustrated in terms of melody. So.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I think it sounds really like cyber. I like it.
Nice.
So, anyone got any last minute thoughts before we move on to Salvati? And then after Salvati, it'll be Uncle Barbecue, which is a fantastic name.
Salvati, Uncle
Very
Barbecue.
nice.
Salvati has submitted us an unfinished song about comprehending everything all at once and regretting it. I miss you guys! Exclamation mark. We'll miss you too, Salvati. So will this be your last track for on video stream, Isha, before you head over to text chat?
Yeah, I think so. I'll still be around, but I got so much stuff to do that I gotta like go off camera and just be. But I will be around. I will still keep giving feedback. I'm still here. I just gotta do some scrubbing,
Real life
hard
stuff.
labor type of homeowner type of stuff, with limited time. Then, but I am here. And Salvati, I'm so excited. I love you. You're amazing.
So this is To Everything by Salvati. Can't speak anymore. What happened?
What?
What?
It's always his whips. He makes like the most complex layered thing for like 3 minutes, and it's like,
Wait, hold on. What's happening right now?
I don't
We've
know.
lost all sense of space and time. Is what's happened.
Just
Yeah.
give me
Oh,
one
you are
second.
so forward thinking. That's amazing. Like I love your ideas. I think yeah, as always, of course, the mix is complicated with you because you have so many good things going on, but I think you're gonna get it. I think the idea was so like vibey and strong, and yeah, gosh, love it. What a nice thing to hear on a cold dark night. That really like warmed me up, and the energy was on point. Auden, what do you think?
I thought it was like really cool. I'd say because of how the track ended up, don't be scared to put like a 808 kick on it, like a little doom cha doom, like a drum pattern that's computerized on top of the live instruments to just give it that extra push because you already have like the all the synths going on top of the guitars, on top of everything going on. It is a little muddy, but I actually don't mind it. I think it sounds really cool. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And the vocals could be a little louder, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, the vocals, it's always tricky, like because you got so much going on. But I would do one of those like pop tricks where you sidechain all the synths just a little bit to your vocals, so that it just gently ducks and gives you
Right.
space. That and or some mid-side EQing. Bump yourself up in the mid channel right around your like fundamental peak, wherever you're strongest, and then like dip the mids across the bus with the whole synth similar to your voice range. This is a trick I use a lot, especially because I have kind of a low voice for a girl. So I do have the same kind of problems that like male vocalists have, or anyone with like a medium, low, whatever your gender identity, anyone with that like alto kind of tenor range. So that's the problem with that, right? It's not a problem. It's a great range, the best range, but it also sits in the same region as a lot of synths. So I think doing that a little bit of side chain, and you can even side chain a mid-side EQ or a dynamic EQ so that that EQ only kicks in while you're singing. And then it's like no one is even going to notice because it's only going to remove it when you're singing, which is super exciting. I was going to say, I forgot to say that earlier with some of the drum and bass tracks and percussion, like side chaining is always like people talk about it a lot just from a purely technical sense, like making room for the bass and the kick, but there is so much about creative side chaining that people miss. Like you can really play with different types of ways. There's so many, right? There's compression side chaining, there's manual volume, there's stuff like shaper midi or kickstart. There's a lot of different ways to make room, and a lot of them you can sculpt. One of my favorites is called Duck Buddy, and I think it's Slink that made it.
Duck
It's a little
Buddy.
Max for Live Ableton device. And just anything where you can really create the shape of the volume that you are carving out for your element, you can actually use to really spice up your percussion. And I call it like lazy variation. Like for instance, you could have hi-hats that are just going and you put a side chain against something else and you have a really like slower attack and release, and then it goes like right? And so you're using the side chain to like really pulse and create this artistic thing. If anyone wants to nerd out about that, I will find it and link it in the chat. But I did do a workshop, which is on YouTube, about creative side chaining. And it used to be part of my Berkeley master's sound design class or Ableton
Okay.
class, one of them. I don't remember. But yeah, I
Okay.
will link that for anyone who's interested. But I think playing with creative side chaining with all the stuff you have, and not just even on compression, but on different types of EQ, and really like playing with that would be a good idea.
I think that for me, the other thing that's going to be really hard to manage is that the drums, they right now, I don't really feel like they live anywhere. And I know you're challenging yourself to use stock FL. If stock FL includes stuff that's in the Suite version, convolution, Fruity Convolver, I think, is the place to start experimenting
They
with.
they're using stock FL plugins and stuff for this.
Yes.
Whoa, that was really good. Okay.
But stock is like the thing. People say, "Oh, it's stock," But the reason they package these things with the DAW in the first place is because they're good tools to have.
They're usable, yeah. But that was crazy. Like, well, okay, yeah. I like that.
So, thank you for the submission. And are you wanting to sign off with any additional messages, Isha, before you go do some housework and hang out in regular chat?
I'm still here. I'm just gonna be a text like I usually am on Discord, but I just want to say it's really nice to stay in touch with you all, and I look forward to doing some stuff with you, Natty, and Auden. It's great having you here. It's super nice energy. So I've just I really love
it was
this
nice
community.
meeting you.
And I love everything that we have, and thank you all for putting so much effort into making such lovely music. It is an honor and a pleasure to always be with you. So I will still be here, people, just scrubbing my bathroom and other unsexy homeowner stuff like that. So have a good night, everybody. I'm not really gone. I will text and enjoy the rest of your tunes from my headphones. So thank you.
This has been Feedback and Friends. Good night. I'm joking. I'm joking. We are just gonna switch over the screen if this will work. Come on. Oh, it helps if I pick the right button. Yep. Alright. I can probably make the chat bigger at some point. But yeah, I'm off to Isha's for Christmas, everybody. It'll be fun.
Should be.
A whole week in Denmark. Ooh.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it should be. Next up, we have Sweet Escape. They're Uncle Barbecue on the Discord, but their username on SoundCloud is Thank You Chef. It's funny, I know someone called Yes, who goes by Yes Chef sometimes. Now I know someone who's Thank You Chef. Is there one that's like, I'm sorry, Gordon Ramsay? Is someone going by that as an alias? Because he got thank you. Now you just want to apologize. The question here is, how do I master this and get it to not sound like crap? And is the song itself boring? Well, it's only 2 minutes 51.
I like your reactions.
Yeah, feel free to link me something as well.
That was so cool.
It's definitely not boring. It's certainly. Oh, no! Stop.
Oh, I like that too.
that
But
was
yeah,
so-
this was this was cool. I like that.
I think as far as the whole question about mastering, this feels like a song where you're slipping down. It isn't the master stage. I think this could do with just very, very simple mastering. A limiter, a little bit of saturation, and
Yeah.
done. But your mix isn't quite focused enough. Though there was some comments about the Bonehead Banger saying some of the low end feels like it's going a little too wide. I'm in agreement. Although I'm only listening on headphones, I don't have a proper sub as such. But it definitely feels a little bit weirdly stereo. In a way that's reducing some of the impact of that sub. And when it's taking up space that it shouldn't be taking up, it makes it sound quieter because everything is kind of just mushy.
Yeah, I'd say once that part is kind of figured out, it's actually kind of perfect. The vocals could be a little bit louder, just slightly,
Yeah.
maybe. And I actually like that a lot. I feel like that is like, if I heard that in the club, I'd be like going crazy. That is actually a really good song. So yeah, I actually like that a lot. I like that little bass line too. That's really cute. Actually, I'm actually obsessed. I love that actually. Yeah.
I started playing, I was like, oh, this is your vibe. This is totally your vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that almost Western but kawaii kind of
You know?
Europoppy fun weirdness.
Yeah, and it's good. It works. I like that.
Is that your roommate?
Yes.
We'll have to sample that.
Right.
Bonehead Banger is describing it as kitty techno.
Right. Okay, kitty techno. That's a vibe. That was intensity.
Now it was I just take a fine tooth comb of your mix, and then you'll find that you just don't really need to master in the same way. Like a lot of people when they talk about mastering, a lot of the stuff doesn't really apply to indie producers because we're all doing all of it ourselves, usually in the same
Right.
project file. When you're doing things like with stems or send them to someone else, then it gets a little bit more. You might be heavier on the master, but right now it's a case of do everything in the mixing chain before it gets to the master, and you barely need to do anything once that gets to that point.
Right, right. And I also think it's like when it comes to songs like this, like that's something that's more like it's more so for like a rave nightclub type of setting. So it doesn't have to be mixed like mastered too crazy. As long as the mix is like where it needs to be, that's all it is. Sometimes
Yeah, and if
the
it's ever so
master
slightly quiet, they'll probably bass boost it anyway.
right, you know what I'm saying? So
Because I have heard that done before, even here. Like, going to
Oh, yeah.
a club with slightly dodgy speakers, and they crank the treble, and they crank the bass, and everyone
yeah, I
loses
do
to
that
hear
too.
it.
Yeah, I do that too. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we're turning everything like, yeah.
You're very welcome. Right now, there's a general service announcement. I call it that. If you're not tuned in and you haven't given me advance notice of why you're not tuned in at the time and you're not around, I will skip ahead in the queue just to make sure people who are watching are served. Like, there's some people who send me tracks, like, send into the submission and they say, oh, I'm not tuned in because I live in, like, Australia or something. We've already had one Funked Up. I think he's got an entry in the queue. Because, like, you know, it's literally like 3 a.m. there or something. Nobody expects someone to be up at 3 a.m. That's unreasonable. We're not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't send me advance notice of why you can't turn up, then I'm going to prioritize people who are here. So next up we have Eclipsio, aka Namor Sounds. Yeah, we're... hey friends, back with another track. This one is a newer track, but I'd love thoughts on the overall arrangement of the song and any top-level production tips. Thanks for the listen. This is Clear Skies by Namor Sounds. down a little bit and talk over the end. I'm agreeing with the Deadmousey comparisons somewhat, although it's a little bit happier than a lot of Deadmau's work. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Boneheaded Bangers, I think, has some really good feedback here. Like talking about some of the melodies playing a little bit long and having more filtering in and out of things could really, really benefit this track, I think. The question about the tempo slowing down and not automating, I think part of that is because when you got something where there is a bit of a pulsiness going with the track, but the beat itself isn't particularly well defined, so it makes it feel like you start losing track of it. I don't know, that's just how I feel of it, especially around that section where around here-ish.
Yeah, I'd say sit with each track. So like sit with the drums together and go through each one. I'd say for some of the synths, I'd take off a lot of the low mids and just mids, and not take them off, but just like bring them down. Yeah, bring them down a little bit so that way that's like where a lot of the muddiness is, like in the mid area. Just kind of play with those and sidechain that bass. You could sidechain everything, actually, except maybe like some of the front line, like the front center synths. I like this one a lot. This is like something I would sing over. It reminds you of like 2000s dance pop. A lot of like people like Kylie and like Britney, Madonna would make stuff like this. I'd be like, there's like stuff I would listen to, but I like it a lot. Yeah. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. And again, we've got a lot of the tracks tonight. They've all been really, really strong ideas. It's just always that last little bit of patience that I mean, I personally find really hard to do sometimes, where it's just going in the nitty gritty, making sure everything.
Let the
is actually tied up.
percussion. Yeah, the percussion definitely needs to come through more to like guide the track a little bit better.
So next up, Snowy, I'm gonna have to ask some clarification on this one because it says here that it's a remix. The description, like the URLs, like Trinity Sharks Skybreak Paper Skies Snowy remix. It's for the description was it's for a challenge by Sharks, but I lose. So I assume it was a remix contest entry. When we don't normally accept remixes for the stream because sometimes it can get weird with Twitch's DMCA thingy. So if you could DM me some details about the track, like the original track as well. Like I don't know whether it's safe or not to play. I mean,
Or
sometimes we
just
can risk it, but
if you can take the vocals off, maybe too, maybe.
And
That might be.
maybe we'll just risk it and see what happens. So it's for a remix contest. It might be. Oh, okay, so you took. So there's no vocals in it, and.
Okay.
There's another advert. We're going to mute that. Alright, so Auden, while this advert is going on in the background, tell me a bit about what you've got coming up next in life, or your music, or whatever you feel like sharing in terms of news.
I don't know yet. I have a lot of. I'm planning to do a lot more sets, so you'll see on my Instagram. I have like, I'll probably be posting sets starting in December, possibly, and hopefully throughout
Clarification,
the
that's
next year.
DJ sets.
Yeah, like DJ sets, yeah. And then music will just be coming in the form of singles until I decide on what I want to put out. Because I'm usually an artist that puts out mixtapes. So I'm like trying to slow down. I put out a lot of music at once sometimes. So I'm like trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. And obviously, you want to sustain creativity without burning out with promo. At least that's the thing I'm always debating.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we'll have to make sure that links in the chat. I'll link you some stuff from. I'll link your socials in a second so people can go follow you because you do have some interesting stuff going on, and people should follow you.
Amazing.
So next up, Snowy has said that basically this is just all original content now. It isn't really a remix anymore. So we'll give it a shot. Let's see what happens. This is Tried Out, formerly a remix, I guess, by Snowy, and I guess I need general feedback. So let's go. Okay, I'm going to let you go first, Auden, on your feelings on that track, and I will feedback off you.
I think I would have preferred it have all been the jungle sample cut up thing more than the dubstep. But I do like how the dubstep drop sounded, like the jum 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 jum. I like that part. Yeah, I don't know. But everything sounded like actually perfect to me at least. Maybe that synth could be slightly quieter, like the dee 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 dee, that part. But after that, it sounded pretty like professional, like spot on to me.
I think the it's definitely color based. You nailed the aesthetic. It could get to the point faster, and then
Yeah, just
develop a little more because, like, there's a really hype section, for example, on the back end. I feel like you should be seeing that earlier, so then we really get the high energy style up tempo stuff going on, and get really hyped because. Especially, if you were going to plan to originally enter this for like a remix contest or whatever, it's super competitive. Like it's a crazy I don't do remix contests very often, partly because that sense of competition can be really my brain make me go weird. But if you are gonna do it, it is hyper competitive, and sometimes that means you have to get to the really good bits just earlier because people won't wait around when they're judging this stuff. Like especially when they've got 100 submissions to get through, or more. Because sometimes I've seen some contests get hundreds of submissions. They well, it's not a case that the others are too good. You can get there, but sometimes you just need to be a little bit more objective with your ideas and say, okay, which bits are really the best bits, and prioritize those and make sure that your like that sections are getting the chance to shine before people have already started tuning out. Because you have some really cool stuff in here, but it just comes so late that it's like it loses the momentum.
I could see that. I could see that. I don't mind the longness of it, but maybe that's because I just go to club. I be in raves, so the songs be like forever. But I don't.
And if you
I
think
don't
it in the
hate that it
context of
comes
a
in
DJ,
Yeah, I
a
don't
lot of
mind it.
DJs skip to the good bits.
Yeah, but for that, the end part, you'd have to take that end part, or like the whole excitement towards the end in the middle, and double that again, or make that part longer, and then outro it. So it would be a longer song overall, but you'd have like a build up, and then you'd have a nice middle section that actually, someone can cut up, and then you'd have like the end where it like fades out, you know? Like an extended cut of the song, basically.
Yeah, I could see that being potentially one way to go with it.
Yeah.
As I say, there are no easy, uniform answers for
Yeah.
creation. Like, we all have our separate opinions, and obviously you as a creator, you can choose to ignore all of us. That's your right, and
Yeah.
that's part of the process too. And even you see, like me and Auden don't necessarily 100% agree on how we might tackle this. So
Yeah.
for me, it's always just comes
I
back
think it's
to
more balanced,
context. Like, where do you intend it to be played?
doesn't-
That's always the big one that ends up defining something like this.
Yeah, because it doesn't. I don't think it needs that four on the floor type section. Maybe just keep that vibe of the dubstep going. Maybe play with the drop a little bit more. Add some variations in it. I think you should extend the drop section longer, or have it come in more than once, or something like that. I think that's the exciting part. So you want to hear that a little bit, maybe longer, or more like more variations of it to kind of keep the excitement going.
Yeah, but solid attempt at color base. Like, I will give you credit for that. Like, because that is like, we don't want to be discouraging. Like, it is good. It's
No,
just
I like it.
yeah.
I like it. I thought it was really pretty. It sounds professional. Like it sounds really good. Like
So, thank you very much for your submission, Snowy. Next up, we have Goobery. Time zones being weird again, so like we will play it. I've given you the timestamp, 2 hours and 5 minutes approximately. This is Megaplex. Hopefully, it won't make us play an advert first. Looking for overall advice, but mostly missing the second half of the track because the section is unfinished. Hope that isn't a problem. Smiley face. And we'll see what you got. 2 minutes and 5 seconds, not very long, so I guess that's where the missing section is.
oh, okay.
Well, that was fun atmosphere. I feel like even though the second section isn't there yet, the first bit could still do with a little more variety in the melodies for a start. What do you feel, Auden?
I think it should be a little longer so that way it can like have space. You get what I mean? Like I feel
I guess.
I feel like some of it kind of comes at you fast. It's missing the hi-hat in between. It's just like, you know, because it sounds cute with the drop. I like the little drop. It's like yeah, period. What else? Maybe like a slightly more swing, maybe when you add more. I think it just needs a little more percussion. Maybe slightly longer. I don't know what else you'd add section wise. Maybe play with it a little more. Maybe add a little like aggressive part or something. Yeah, like a part that's aggressive without the melodies on it to kind of give a break from all the melodies a little bit.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see a more aggressive second half in general. I say, especially since it's almost verging on, like, it's very chiptune right now, but it's almost verging on that electro train.
I actually like that. I've been really into electro lately too, so it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
So maybe really going heavy in that direction for the second half would be a way of giving it that difference and
maybe something that's just maybe something that's just more like a baseline melody real quick with like maybe you could play with that drop because I like that drop a lot. Maybe you could take some of the melodies off that drop and just have that drop be what it is without all the melodies on it. Something like that. Something fun. Play a little bit and then tie it all back together. You know.
Yeah, I could see that. I'd be very interested to see how you progress the idea, you know?
Hmm.
Well, you can, Bonehead Bangers, you can always rewind once we're finished. Or rewind now, I think that might work. I don't know, you might be behind, but hey. Next up we have, it's Natalie, and their comment here was, all feedback is welcome, especially regarding the mix and sound design. Oh, I copied the wrong... Did I copy the right link? I might have copied the wrong link. Ah! Sorry, 2 seconds. I recopied the... Is this the right link? Thank you for your patience, everybody. I'm just big dum-dum now. That's all this is. No. That's the wrong chat. Come back. There we go.
Terrifying.
Okay, this is so dissociation.
Dissociation.
I feel like that's not quite spelled correctly, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Be extra careful. Be extra careful.
Yeah, you were saying that was crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. I love this so much.
It's definitely an interesting atmosphere. Very, like, did you write this when it was Halloween? Because this definitely has that sort of spooky asylum kind of thing going on.
I love it. It's like rave ready. Honestly, you can make the break parts longer. To be honest, yeah, that would be like awesome. Cause when they stop, it kind of makes you want like a little more. Maybe that's intentional, actually. So maybe that's the point. But yeah, I do like that.
So I think in terms of overall composition, the track I like it. I could definitely agree with some of the comments about especially the drums needing to be a little bit more present.
Oh
This
yes,
definitely feels like the
yes.
start of track where if you're trying to channel that on edge questioning reality kind of vibe, um, your ambience is fine, but you need the sheer intensity of your drums to really slap people in the head.
Yeah, you could basically layer them, honestly.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure
Like
what
on
you
top
necessarily
of,
lay it with, but
like on top of the, because I feel like the drums they might be already double layered, but triple layering them might as well, you know. But having a heavier drum on top of all those would sound really nice. I think really breaky. It'd sound really nice because the ones in the back are like really kind of low and compressed already. So something that's a little kind of slightly less compressed, a little harder, side chained. Yeah, it'd be a vibe.
yeah, I think it could be really interesting to hear. Um, the easiest thing to do is just start with a couple of elements at a time. Just really just sit there and listen to those two things. Maybe get a graphic EQ out. If you're struggling to hear it, use things like Nova TDR to see what it's doing, because then you don't have to rely entirely on your ears being objective.
I
And
agree with
experiment as well. Like
both.
if you don't know what you're doing, try stuff and see it. So if you've got your EQ, make weird curves and just hear what it's doing. And if you don't like what it's doing, you do the opposite of that. You know?
Yeah, I don't know what DAW you're using, but like if it's a rectangular EQ, like horizontally, the left side is the bass, the right side would be the high end here, and the middle is the mids. Turn up the left side.
It could be a little bit heavier on the bass side too, just a smidge.
Yeah, yeah.
So like maybe it's more of a scoopy kind of thing going on. Oh, 72 hours without sleep, man. Oh, it's painful. You make sure you rest. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, it actually sounds. It's literally like basically done. It's just like just play with the drums, like once you get a chance, once you get some rest.
12 hours a day. I'll be lucky. I'm lucky to get 8. Oh, imagine sleeping half a day.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I like it though. Half a day. I sleep like 5 hours. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I generally hit around 7. I'm at 8 if I'm lucky. But really cool submission. Thank you so much. I have a couple of thoughts for guys. We got Piper Fonks next. Unity, you were saying you were wanting to submit. I did reopen the queue so you can. We also got four entries in here where nobody responded to my summons, so I'm not sure. And I'm beginning to crash, in all honesty. So maybe if you guys, if Unity of Noise, you get your submission in, that'll probably, I don't know, do you feel like it's alright closing it for the night? Because my brain is starting to stop functioning. And I know that it's not necessarily ideal to have a few submissions that we don't get to, but it's like if you don't tell me you're not going to be here in advance, it's really hard for me to navigate the queue, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the wisest thing to do, and like you can submit next time. Like we will be back on the 6th of December with Six Sided, who has submitted a few tracks in the past. They don't have anything in this week, but they're quite interesting in terms of composition and arrangement. So I suspect they'll have some interesting thoughts as well. And thank you so much as well, Auden, for joining us this week. You've been amazing.
Of course, yeah. If you want to have me anytime, just let me know. I'll be around.
Sounds good. Maybe we could figure out what me and Isha are doing for Christmas. You can come join in because she has fast internet, so makes a lot of things fairly easy.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And if people want us to do interesting gamey stuff, then obviously let us know. We're good. I would like to put more stuff on, but it's hard balancing things. Don't know about you guys. This is Piper Fonks looking particularly for feedback during the drop and the fade out. Feels really dry to me. And then next up we have Unity of Noise, and then that will be it for tonight, I think. Cause I'm shutting down. My brain stopped working.
You have one new message.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again. 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 012T. Dial again. Dial again. Dial again. Dial again. Dial again. Dial again. 012T. Dial. Check, dial, check.
Due to the severe weather in the area you are calling, your call cannot be completed at this time. Is not answering.
That's a really neat track. This last bit here. Wait back a second. I want more. It could get so much more tense and bigger and crazier, and just keep ramping up for a little bit longer before resolving.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's something I would definitely sing over too. But I think you should introduce some of the heavier sounds just from the beginning, the more electronic sounds. So I feel like it kind of sets you up for more of a trappy R&B hip hoppy vibe at first a little bit, and then it kind of progresses, which I think is cool. But I think because of how it ends up, Yeah, I think some of the heavier sounds in the beginning would be really interesting. I really like that. And that 808 could come in probably on like in that end part and maybe make that end part longer. Yeah, it's a really cool vibe. I like it.
There's definitely points where it feels. I think the comment about where is it too dry? It's not that what you've got is too dry in itself, but that it's kind of the same spatial density the whole way through. If you could ramp up the into more reverby, bigger spaces, with a little bit more layering to increase your stereo field and the mass of your lead sounds and your bass a little bit more, and you use that as a differentiating feature in your arrangement, that build up, that constant build up, you could it will fill itself out in that respect, because it's starting out with that sort of dry sound. I mean, the whole thing starts out like a voicemail, voicemail sounds meh as a the telephone audio sounds meh. That's just part of the aesthetic. It doesn't sound full. It's heavily compressed. It's got only a smidge of the most vocal-oriented frequencies, and that's part of that's what you'd expect. That's natural. But then as you build up the track, you're obviously you're getting away from that. You're using it as a setting, and then filling it out. It's like really, if you look at old cartoons where the quality of them isn't amazing or the CGI isn't great, and your imagination fills in the gaps. Well, in the start of your track, it's a little bit like that, where we're sort of, we fill in the depths, but you then have to assist us by adding that back in as you build up, because you've made it more complex. You've made it more than what the telephone would be capable of sending. So then you have to really fill out the frequencies to make it clear that this is how it actually sounds. That it's not just running through that shitty telephone line. That's kind of where my it just needs to keep building. You have the right idea. It's there. It's just now you need to allow yourself to expand into those empty spaces.
Right. I'd say don't be scared to just let it be whatever length that it is, because I think length kind of plays a part into the creation process of it all. For the vibe of it, because it builds so much, I feel like having it build even more from that last part would really take it to the next level, and then you could just bring it back down and fade it back to the phone call.
Everyone hates tinnitus, but that's kind of the intensity I'd love to hear from that ending of just, you've had a gunshot in the head, next to your thing, and your ears are ringing because it's just so loud, and everything's just so oppressively intense. Because it just has the right progression. The actual chord theory and everything is wonderful. It really is.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it.
And the grit in your sounds, keep that as much as you can, because it is interesting.
Yeah, it's really something. I like it.
So thank you very much.
I like those chords that were used too, actually.
So next up, we have it's going to be our final track for the night, because I think at this point, I mean, it's been a few hours now, 2.5 hours, I think, approximately. And my brain has stopped working. Okay, it's not mastered. Just a heads up, still kicking around -8, but not mastered. Well, that's pretty loud for not mastered, but okay, we'll indulge you on not being mastered.
It was all a dream. 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 Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. Damn right, I like the life I live. Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. Damn right, I like the life I live. 'Cause I went from negative to positive, and it's all good. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. It was all a dream. Damn right, I like the life I live. And if you don't know, now you know. And if you don't know, now you know.
Well, that was certainly a cool atmosphere to be our closing track tonight. I'm going to pass it over to you, Auden. We've got another drum and bass track here. No, it's not jungle, it's just drum and bass, but
It's perfect. I wasn't expecting that sample. That was really funny. But definitely turn up that kick and take that high end off the kick. Yeah, and turn it up. After that, it's perfect. Yeah, actually. It's really fun. It's cute.
it's always crazy when people say, oh, a 2-hour track written and mixed, and I'm just like here 2 hours in, and I've just got it going, and then that over and over again. But, you know.
Yeah.
I think for me, it could have been maybe it felt like a little bit flabby in the arrangement, but everything else sounded pretty good. And that's just me. It might just be my brain not working. I don't know. But it felt more like a 3.5 minute track than a 4:12. Just
Oh, really? That's a 412 track?
4 minutes and 12 seconds.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I think that's a good thing because it feels like
It didn't.
you kind of get lost in it.
You got lost in it. Well, that's good. It's probably just me being weird then.
Yeah.
Because that's a possibility.
I'd say maybe extend the break at least like 4 to 8 more bars or something. That's it. Yeah. I like. Maybe I just like the break sound, but yeah.
Natalie there in the chat saying, "Story of my life, open Ableton, get stoned, get trapped in a loop, get sidetracked by side to side, 4 hours later and I've gone nowhere, the original idea doesn't even exist anymore." Semi-relatable for sure.
Same.
So, sometimes we just need to force ourselves just to move on. Like, on a good day, I write quick and edit when it's later. But I don't ever finish a production. I'm really slow at that side. That one's... yeah.
I'm the same way, yeah.
Do you have any last remarks for tonight, Auden? And thank you, Isha, as well, for joining us earlier. We know how tricky it is with real life.
Oh, yes. No, just thank you for having me, and if you want to have me again, let me know.
Of course.
I'm always around. Yeah, I guess that's it. If you guys want to check out some of my music, Indigo Heaven 001 are all my socials. I'm very easy to find. Yeah.
It's always good being easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone should follow each other. Like, it's a good part of a community like this. It's like actually interacting with each other's work. Like,
yeah, honestly, some
don't
of
just
you
leave
reach
us the
out.
feedback streams. You know, send each other
Yeah.
stuff. Help each other.
Yeah, some of you reach out if you want to make stuff.
So, thank you very much, Auden. I really appreciate your company tonight. And
Thank you for
I'm sure
having
Isha will
me.
be more available on the 6th. Although, who knows, with life, we'll see what happens. But I will be there on the 6th.
I'm usually
excited
home.
to be on the
Yeah.
6th. And this has been Feedback and Friends on LBC TV. And do you remember what we have? I don't know how many of these you've seen, Auden, but like at the end of this, we always sing "Good Night, but Badly." Do you want to join in?
You sing it?
But badly, deliberately.
Okay.
So, this is Feedback and Friends. Have a great night. And I guess I'm just going to repeat myself because my... Good
night. Oh my God. Good night.